Welcome to this channel. Mau belajar bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Inggris dengan cara yang seru, santai, dan mudah dipahami? You're in the right place. Belajar kosakata dan ekspresi sehari-hari. Learn daily vocabulary and expressions. Dengarkan contoh situasi nyata. Listen to real-life examples. Subscribe sekarang dan nyalakan notifikasi. Let's learn together and have fun.
Welcome to the deep dive, and specifically, welcome to your deep dive. Our mission today, well, it's pretty simple. We've gone through your sources, the articles, the notes, all provided by you, of course, and we're here to pull out the most useful, actionable insights. Think of us as your personal shortcut to really getting to the heart of a topic. Today, we're unpacking something incredibly practical: how you make choices and express preferences in Indonesian. We're drawing heavily from some really valuable material provided by the Merdeka channel. It gives us a fantastic sort of real-world look at the language. Our goal is to give you a clear, practical understanding of everyday Indonesian, especially, when you need to navigate decisions and say what you want or like.
Yeah, and what's great about using the Merdeka channel's materials is that we're not just looking at grammar rules in a vacuum. By diving into these real-world dialogues and practical examples, we actually see how choices play out in, real conversation. This deep dive, it should transform what might seem like complex grammar and vocabulary into easily digestible insights you can basically use right away. It's about understanding not just what to say, but how people actually say it in natural situations.
That's a perfect way to put it, a perfect way to set the stage. So to really see this in action, where should we start our deep dive into these Merdeka channel examples?
Okay, let's kick off with a core conversation right from the source material. It's incredibly relatable, I think. Imagine you're planning a trip, right? And you're sort of wrestling with your budget versus, wanting a bit of luxury. That's exactly what our characters, Sari and Putra, are doing. They're discussing spring break plans for New York. It's a classic dilemma, really, and it perfectly shows how financial choices come into play very naturally.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna read the Indonesian dialogue first. Listen closely, try and see what you can pick up. Maybe focus on the flow, not just every single word. Alright, here's Sari. Liburan musim mendingan kita kemana ya? Kamu ada ide bagus enggak? Putra answers. Belum kepikiran sih. Kenapa? Sari again. Ini aku sedang melihat-lihat situs perjalanan wisata. Ada paket perjalanan selama 10 hari di New York, termasuk penginapan di hotel bintang 5. Menurut kamu gimana? Dan Putra, mana coba aku lihat? After a few seconds, ini sih nggak terlalu murah. Kata kamu mau berbelanja banyak kan kalau ke New York? Sari, ya, Putra respons. Menurut saya daripada kita menghabiskan uang sebanyak ini, mendingan kita cari paket yang hotelnya lebih murah. Sari questions this. Tapi kapan lagi kita menginap di hotel bintang 5? Putra acknowledges, aku juga mau banget sebenarnya. Tapi kan tujuan utamanya untuk tamasya dan belanja. Kalau kita menginap di hotel biasa, kita bisa membelanjakan uangnya untuk belanja dan keperluan lain kan? And Sari konsisten, iya juga sih. Ya sudah, sekarang bantu aku cari paket yang lainnya.
Okay, great. If you were following along, that's fantastic. But if not, honestly, no worries at all. Here's the full English translation of that conversation. Sarah starts. Where do we want to go for spring break? Do you have any good ideas? Putra. I haven't had any thoughts. Why? Sari. So I'm browsing travel and tour websites. There's a travel package for 5 days in New York, including 5-star hotel accommodations. What do you think? Putra. Where is it? Let me see. After a few seconds. Putra again. Well, this is not so cheap. You said that you want to shop a lot once you get to New York, right? Sari. Yes. Putra. I think instead of spending this much money, we'd better look for a package with a cheaper hotel, Sari. But when else could we stay in a 5-star hotel, Putra? Actually, I want it really badly too, but you know that the main purpose of going is for sightseeing and shopping. If we stay in an ordinary hotel, we could spend the money on shopping and other things, right? Sari: yes, that's true too. All right then, now help me find another package, okay?
Hearing that dialogue, it's just so clear how practical these phrases are. Like for everyday stuff, you can really feel their decision-making process, the back and forth.
Absolutely. And what's really insightful here is how naturally this conversation unfolds. It's all around a common decision, right? In Indonesian. It perfectly showcases these practical phrases for like negotiation and compromise, but also the subtle art of persuasion. You hear Sari, she wants the luxury. Then Putra comes in with this logical counter-argument, focusing on the main purpose of the trip. And then Sari eventually gives in with that "Iya juga sih."
That phrase.
Right.
Yeah.
For anyone learning Indonesian, this is just a perfect example of how real natural conversations flow. You get the desires, the counter-arguments, the eventual agreement, often with that subtle nod, acknowledging the other person's point is valid.
That conversation really is a gold mine, isn't it, for understanding practical language? And like you said, many of the words Sari and Putra use are just essential for daily Indonesian. Let's dig into some of those key terms, the ones that will be super useful for you, the listener.
Definitely. Let's start with a really versatile one. Mending. It's an adjective, means better. You'll hear it a lot when someone's suggesting a preferred alternative, like a gentle push, for example. Mending kamu telepon itu dulu sebelum memutuskan untuk berkunjung.
Okay, meaning?
You better call him first before you decide to visit. See? It's like a soft recommendation.
Got it. Okay, next.
Then there's keeperluen. It's a noun. Translates to things like utilities, necessity, or even purpose. Think of it for, daily essentials, or maybe what something is for. A great example from the source was, setiap hari minggu kami membeli barang-barang keperluan rumah tangga.
Which means?
Every Sunday we buy household necessities. Covers a whole range of everyday stuff.
Makes sense.
Next up, menginap. That's a verb meaning to stay overnight, or sometimes just to stay. It was central to Sari and Putra's whole debate about the 5-star hotel, right? As in, saya mau menginap di hotel yang bagus, tapi saya tidak punya uang.
I wanted to stay at a nice hotel, but I had no money. Very relatable.
It's exactly common for travel talk or even sleepovers. Then, for anyone who enjoys a bit of retail therapy, berbelanja, that's the verb to shop. Our source gives us, ibu saya sedang berbelanja di supermarket.
Simple enough. My mother is shopping in the supermarket.
Yeah, very straightforward. And if you're planning a trip like Sari and Putra, you'll definitely come across tamasha. It's a noun, means sightseeing.
Ah, like tourism.
Kind of, yeah. More the activity of seeing the sights. A good sentence to remember is, selain keluar negeri, orang Jakarta gemar bertamasya ke Bali. Meaning, besides going to foreign countries, people from Jakarta like sightseeing in Bali captures that idea of leisurely travel.
Okay, and the last one.
Finally, we get to utama. This one's useful because it can be a noun or an adjective. It means main, primary, or major. Like in the example, siapa nama pemeran utama dalam miniseri ini?
What is the name of the main character in this miniseries?
Exactly. It's used to highlight the most important part of something. These words, they're really the building blocks for so many everyday conversations.
Those really are fantastic building blocks. And, it's not just the individual words, is it? It's how they fit into specific phrases that makes Indonesian so expressive. Let's focus on two really insightful phrases from that dialogue, the ones that add that natural flair. These aren't just vocabulary. They convey specific nuances, specific intent.
Exactly right. The first phrase is tujuan utamanya. This means the main purpose, if you break it down a bit.
Okay.
Tujuan is the noun for purpose or aim. Objective. Utamanya is made of utama, which we just learned means main or primary,
Right.
and the suffix inya, which acts like the. So put it all together. The main purpose. It's wonderfully versatile. You can use it pretty much anytime you want to emphasize the core reason for something.
Like Putra did about the trip.
Precisely. Here's another example. Akar ini tujuan utamanya dalam mengumpulkan sumbangan untuk korban banjir. That translates to, the main purpose of this event is to collect donations for flood victims. See how it clarifies the focus.
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah.
Okay, and the second phrase, the one Sarah used.
Yes. Ia juga si. This one is incredibly common in informal chats. It means something like, you're right, or you've got a point. Maybe that's true too. Literally, ia means yes, true, correct. Juga means to as well, also. And then there's si. It adds the subtle layer, kind of like actually or really in this context.
Huh. So it's almost like saying correct as well, actually.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That sigh really changes the feel.
So are there other little words like sigh that pack that kind of punch, that nuance?
Definitely. Sigh here is used informally, often when you're agreeing or acknowledging someone. I made a good point, but there's often a little tone of concession or maybe realization. It softens the agreement, makes it feel more natural, less abrupt than just saying yes.
Okay.
If you're in a more formal situation, you wouldn't use sigh. You'd probably say something like, Iya anda benar juga. Anda is the formal you, and benar means correct or right. So literally, yes, you are right too. Much more direct, more formal. Oh, and our source also points out you can use benar juga si interchangeably with iya juga si. Same informal meaning. A good example sentence. Iya juga si, umumnya memang begitu.
Meaning?
That's true too. That's generally how it is. It's a great example of how a tiny particle like sigh adds so much to the conversational flow, that feeling of agreement.
That really helps, hearing the difference between formal and informal, and how a word like sigh adds that subtle layer. This brings us perfectly to how that whole dialogue, Sari and Putra weighing options, is such a great launch pad for understanding preferences and opinions in Indonesian. This skill is just crucial for navigating pretty much any everyday interaction, right? Ordering food, planning trips.
You're absolutely spot on. Let's dive into the grammar patterns, asking preferences, making comparisons, and we need to pay close attention to whether the situation is formal or informal. Getting that distinction right is key to sounding natural.
Okay, let's start formal. How do you politely ask?
For formal situations, asking someone's preference between choices, you've got a couple of common patterns. One way is, yang mana yang Anda inginkan atau?
Okay, break that down.
It means, which do you want where? Yang mana is which, the next yang is like the one that Anda is the formal you, and inginkan means desired or wanted. So if you're in a professional setting or talking to someone you don't know well, you may ask, yang mana yang Anda inginkan, teh atau kopi?
Which one do you want, tea or coffee?
Got it. Or yang mana yang Anda inginkan, saus tomat atau sambal,
Which one do you want, tomato ketchup or chili sauce? Okay, that makes sense. What's the other formal way?
Another common formal phrase is, apakah Anda ingin atau? This just means, do you want or read? Ape acts as a question marker here. Anda is formal you. Ingin means to want. and atau is or. So you could ask, apakah Anda ingin jus jeruk atau teh manis?
Do you want orange juice or sweet tea?
Right. Or, apakah Anda ingin yang dingin atau yang panas? Meaning, do you want the cold or hot one? Both are polite, both are clear.
It's interesting how clearly you can distinguish formal and informal. So what about when you're just chilling with friends? Does it loosen up completely, or are there still similar patterns?
Good question. It definitely loosens up, but the core structure often stays similar, just, more relaxed. For preferences informally, you could just say, kamu mau yang mana? Atau,
Okay, much shorter.
which one do you want? Or, kamu is the informal you, mau means to want, yang mana is which, atau is or. For example, kamu mau yang mana, rasa coconut atau rasa strawberry?
Which one do you want, chocolate or strawberry? Easy.
Or, kamu mau yang mana, warna kuning atau warna biru? For which one do you want, yellow or blue? Very direct, very common among friends.
Okay, and another informal way.
Another widely used one is kamu lebih suka atau. This means, which one do you like better or kan? Here, kamu is informal, you, lebih means more, and suka means like. So maybe you're at a barbecue, you might hear, kamu lebih suka daging ikan, ayam atau sapi?
Which do you like best? Fish, chicken, or beef?
Exactly. Or maybe discussing work styles. Kamu lebih suka bekerja di kantor atau di rumah?
Do you prefer to work at the office or at home? These are all about just expressing preference casually.
Yeah, very natural.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so beyond just asking, how do you actually state your own opinion? Compare things. Say one thing is better than another. Sari and Putra did this quite a bit with the hotel thing.
Exactly, and there are simple but really powerful patterns for that too. Comparing things, expressing what you prefer. In formal situations, you'd use daripada lebih baik,
Literally meaning,
rather than it's better.
Right.
Daripada means rather than or instead of. Lebih is more, baik is good, so lebih baik is better. For instance, daripada mengantri lebih baik kalau kita memesan tempat dahulu.
rather than queuing, it's better if we make a reservation in advance. Okay?
Or another one, daripada pegunungan lebih baik ke pantai saat musim panas.
Rather than going to the mountains, it's better to go to the beach in summertime. It's a clear, polite way to state a preference, yeah?
Definitely. Now, for informal situations, you'd usually swap out lebih baik. You'd use daripada mendingan. Still means rather than, it's better. Daripada is the same, but mendingan is the informal, more conversational way to say better.
Ah, like the word mending from earlier.
Exactly. So, daripada makan di restoran, mendingan kita masak di rumah.
Rather than eating in the restaurant, it's better for us to cook at home. You can really hear how much more casual that feels.
Right. It flows differently.
So you're saying you can swap out better, lebih baik, or mendingan for other comparisons, like more delicious or nicer, but keep that daripada structure. That seems incredibly versatile.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really flexible. Those words for better can be replaced by other comparative adjectives. For instance, formally you might use lebih enak. Informally, just enakan for more delicious.
Okay.
Similarly, lebih bagus formally, bagusan informally for nicer, lebih murah formally, murahan informally for cheaper.
Cheaper, yeah.
And lebih cepat formally, cepatan informally for faster. It's a really easy way to expand your descriptive power while keeping that comparative structure.
Can we hear an example?
Sure, how about daripada sepuntut di hotel ini, lebih enak sepuntut buatan ibuku.
Okay, my mom's homemade oxtail soup is more delicious than the oxtail soup in this hotel.
Not exactly. Or a more informal one, daripada beli satu, murah beli dua.
Rather than just buying one, it's cheaper to buy two. Yeah, you can hear how natural that flows. Those comparative words fit right in.
Makes expressing opinions really straightforward.
This language for choices and preferences, it isn't just theory, is it? It's incredibly practical, especially when you think about applying it to real-world things like travel. So let's connect this language learning directly to some practical cultural insights, stuff that can really enhance your experience, especially if you're planning a trip to Indonesia.
Indeed. And our source material, the Modakar channel stuff, provides some fantastic tips for getting cheaper flights within Indonesia, which, if you're like Sari and Putra trying to balance budget and experience, could be invaluable for your next trip. These aren't just random tips. They actually give insights into the travel market and booking habits there.
Okay, like what?
First, try looking for Wednesday flights for domestic trips.
Wednesday? Why Wednesday?
Well, it seems Wednesdays often have less business travel and fewer weekend leisure travelers too. So it could be a sweet spot for deals. Also, generally speaking, morning and night flights tend to be cheaper than flights during those peak daytime hours. Probably just supply and demand.
Makes sense. Any other tricks?
Here's a clever one, kind of an insight into the booking system itself. Consider looking for tickets from midnight up until dawn. Yeah, the idea is that online flight bookings often have payment deadlines. If people miss those deadlines, their tickets can get automatically canceled around midnight. This can free up potentially cheaper seats that suddenly become available again. It's apparently a common local hack.
Interesting. Good to know.
And crucially, booking in advance really matters. At least 2 weeks before you leave is generally better than trying last minute. But, and this is important, during peak season, think national holidays, school breaks, you really should book at least 1 month ahead.
Wow, a whole month.
Yeah, to avoid those really high prices and also just the disappointment of flights being totally booked out. It reflects the high demand during certain times.
Right.
What else? Finally, the source emphasizes staying connected. Keep in touch with your favorite travel agencies. Subscribe to airline and travel agency newsletters. This is how many local travelers find out about upcoming promotions and flash sales. It pays to be in the loop.
Good advice.
Oh, and a useful expression to remember for all this travel talk.
Yeah.
The term for airline in Indonesian is maskapai penerbangan.
Maskapai penerbangan. Got it.
You'll hear that constantly if you're booking flights.
Wow, what a practical and really insightful deep dive. We've really navigated the nuances, haven't we? Making choices, expressing preferences in Indonesian, from that super relatable dialogue between Sari and Putra to the essential vocabulary, those great conversational phrases like tujuan utamanya and "vi juga se," and that comprehensive breakdown of grammar patterns, formal and informal. Plus, we even got some invaluable cultural tips for maybe scoring cheaper flights, all thanks to the fantastic materials from the Motakar channel. This knowledge really does empower you, the listener, to communicate more clearly and, make choices more effectively in Indonesian.
Absolutely. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, this deep dive into making choices in Indonesian, it offers more than just new words and grammar, right? It gives you a crucial glimpse into how decisions are actually weighed, how they're expressed, even how they're subtly negotiated within the culture. It shows how language really mirrors thought processes and social dynamics. So maybe this raises an important question for you, the listener, to think about. What fascinating choice or preference will you articulate next in Indonesian using what you've learned today?
That's a great thought to leave you with. Thank you directly for joining us on this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.